Valley, it's finally raining. First good rains of the year, much needed.
Yeah, it's great for everybody that has a roof on their house.
That's right. It's refreshing.
Yeah,
I like it.
But it's also a reminder too, right? Obviously, we had the fires in Southern California. You know, how many homeowners actually review their home insurance policies? Right, because in specifically the dwelling coverage,
right?
Because construction costs are so high, right?
As far as like what they're actually insured for,
yeah,
the replacement costs and everything. Oh,
yeah, you know,
low percentage.
A perfect example, you know, we're looking to buy a cabin out in Arnold, and I get a quote for insurance that it's lower end cabin, about $500,000.
Okay,
so they told me that the replacement cost would be $358,000.
What's the square footage of something like that?
1,500 square feet. You can't build a house, a 1,500 square foot house.
That's your framing and lumber cost.
Exactly, right? So I think, I mean, you know, especially in California, the whole insurance industry is kind of, you know, everything's in turmoil right now. Right. And I think people are afraid to reach out and change or modify their policies for fear they might be kicked out.
Did you hear that State Farm requested a 20% increase today as an emergency increase?
I saw that, because of the fires in LA.
And now, I don't know, but I'm sure if somebody Googled, I'm sure somebody will, how much did State Farm make in profit last year?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and not only that, they were already granted a 20% increase last year.
Right.
Then they asked for a 30% increase, roughly, and that got shot down.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like in the middle of all this, you know, and these people whose homes have burned down that have State Farm, if that increase goes into effect, they're going to have no house.
Favor, somebody Google how much State Farm made last year.
Yeah.
Deep
Right?
seek it.
Deep seek. Are you going to use ChatGPT or DeepSeek? But yeah, I mean, but it's a reminder, right? That, I mean, obviously insurance is expensive, but in our area especially, the homes are so expensive. Construction. Go ahead.
Total revenue, $104 billion.
Oh my gosh.
Now in all fairness.
But
they reported a $6.3 billion loss.
All right.
But, you know, I never know.
I digress.
And I think why it's very, very important to have a real estate advisor team like us in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Because most homeowners don't pay attention to that.
Well,
right? They're looking at the cost of the premium.
And I was just going to say and I think, you know, a lot of these people that sell insurance want to sell the cheapest premium because they're being rate shopped just like a lender on interest rates.
I don't know. I'm sure you guys get the same email. Every time I list a property, there's this email that comes out from this company, I think in Southern California. It says, we just gave you an insurance quote. Yeah. And it's the lowest stuff you've ever seen. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What's the coverage on that? You haven't even seen the property yet.
Yeah. And in kind of a real world example of that, you know, I have 5 kids. We have 7 cars on my auto insurance policy. I didn't pay attention.
Damn, that's high. That's probably more than your mortgage.
I could buy a car a year.
Yeah, I would assume so.
And I thought about it. But one of my kids get into an accident, and it caused about $10,000 or $13,000. No, $13,000 of damage to the other car.
Yeah.
Well, my insurance company reached out to me and said, "Hey, just so you know, your coverage only covers $5,000 towards other people's damage." And I'm like, "Son of a."
Practice what you preach.
Well, yeah, you know, it's important to review those things because insurance is one of those things where you don't think about it until you need it.
Right. Of course.
And to not have, so I recommend people out there, take a look at your insurance policies, especially because of the cost of construction has gone up so high.
Yeah.
Stuff happens, fires happen. Airplanes are crashing out of the sky.
No doubt, right. And I think again, that's where you need good advisors in your pocket. We've got incredible insurance resources and stuff.
Definitely.
So if anybody needs somebody, reach out to us that can really sit down and do that analysis.
Yeah, and side note to that, I know a lot of insurance advisors or people that quote policies don't want to come on our podcast. But if anybody out there listening or watching knows an insurance agent that's experienced, that wants to come out and talk about what's going on in the industry, we would love to have them as part of our podcast. So, please send us referrals. People, I'd love to connect, with some good individuals in that space.
Absolutely. Yep.
Let's talk about what the buyer's market, last month versus this month, right? I know we had some pretty busy open houses this past weekend versus December. I mean, we pulled some properties off the market because things were slow. So why don't you guys tell us about 95136, the one you did over in,
Alviso.
Alviso?
It was actually packed. We had 43 groups over the weekend, and we set a deadline on Wednesday to take offers. It's a tri-level single-family home. Everything kind of spaced together with a very small side yard, no backyard as such, low HOA of $80, 2001 built, so fairly nice space, 2,000 something square feet, but all levels stacked one
What was the
on
price
top of
point
each
on
other. It was listed for 1,398, and we had
Taking
about-
offers tomorrow.
on Wednesday, yeah.
Wednesday,
So,
tomorrow,
yeah,
okay.
tomorrow. And there's a lot of calls on it as well.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I got a couple buyers also looking to potentially place offers. So we'll see how that
Yeah,
goes.
43 groups through essentially in 6 hours worth of open houses, right?
Exactly.
And then I know you and Aaron did yours over in 95136 and had 60 plus.
60 groups, like 35 Saturday and probably like 25-ish Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, so interest rates are 6.5% or so percent. There's a new administration, there's a threat of tariffs, tech layoffs, all this stuff. But yeah, buyers are out in full force.
Absolutely. And I think Jeet submitted an offer on a house
yeah.
that had a pretty...
Oh yeah, that was a crazy situation. So this house in Cambrian, listed for 1.2, needs some work, but had a 8,000 square feet lot, and schools are decent, 6, and 9. So people move in for the schools, but there were over 200 groups that visited the open house, and my clients are like, we really like it, what's it gonna take? I was like, hey, it's priced super low, right? That's why they have 200 people through the door. They received 55 offers at deadline,
55.
and we were the top 5. And
Yeah.
it sold for 1.8.
Yeah,
and,
and listed at 1.3.
1.2.
Yeah,
So
one
600K over asking,
Yeah.
but
And again, what's the square footage on that?
that's 1,300 square feet on 8,000 square feet lot. Yeah,
And that's a Cambrian.
it's Cambrian. Yeah, with Leeds Elementary and Branham.
Yeah, and that's what happens when there's only 500 homes in all of Santa Clara County.
Well, and you had mentioned, you said, the comparison from last year to this year. I mean, something we were talking about was it amazes me where we know timing and location of the market, right?
sure.
But even in a market, I mean, like we can all agree that the last couple of years has been, I mean, it's been a really nice ride of appreciation for, I mean, the last 2 years, I mean, the last 12 years it's been that
Yeah.
way, right? But it still amazes me where you'll hear these stories and there's homes like you said, we pulled off in December. And I don't think it's necessarily the holidays because the holidays actually wind up being a busy time, but it could have been, maybe that house had a little bit too many distractions at the time, a transformer tower, maybe price was a little bit issue.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing it 2 months later or a month later, you put it on the market and you get these incredible offers on it. It is amazing to
and
just
we're going to
see-
find out because I have one here in town
Right.
that we pulled off in December, put back on today. First round of open houses this weekend, so I'm really curious to
And a
see.
whole price reduction of $10,000.
No,
to see
we
what it
didn't
does.
even reduce the price.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're staying firm. 1998.
There you go.
Yeah, we just hit the reset button and see if there's a
Nice.
new crop of buyers that are willing
Okay.
to come out and make an offer. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
There's a
there.
story around that. So last year in October, I placed an offer on this property in Almaden, which was listed for 274. It was on the market for 60 days. We gave them an offer a little under asking, and they straight up rejected it. No
Yeah.
counter, nothing. And my clients, all right, we move on, right? Because it's overpriced. And that same property came back on the market with a $250,000 price reduction and sold 400,000 over asking. And I was like,
There's no
what's
rhyme or
going
reason. to
on?
this. I mean,
Yeah.
it is crazy. I mean, when we start looking at the tariffs and all the stuff that we're hearing now, where and again, I think it's you look across America, right? And there are those areas. We are so special in here, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Absolutely.
we just really are. We're not as we don't react as quickly as some of the other market does to, okay, there's tariffs. I mean, well, big deal. People still need roofs over their head. We have
Yeah.
30 homes on the market in Los Gatos where there should be 200 homes. I mean,
Yeah, and because of the continued appreciation that we get in our valley, people aren't afraid to offer $200,000 more on a $1.5 million house because they know in 6 months
Yeah.
the rest of the neighborhood is going to catch
well,
up.
I just
right?
had the conversation with a buyer this morning. I'm like, listen, if you don't buy now, and he's like, oh, I'm going to wait for the market to go down or interest rates. If you don't buy now, what's going to happen is you're going to pay more for that house, and guess what? You're going to lose double because not will you be paying more, but you're going to lose on the equity that you would have gained with that house.
You're absolutely right. And so, when I was doing some research about, because housing, it's such limited housing inventory right now. So I was doing a little bit of research before the podcast, like, okay, where are the new housing developments? What's going on? So there's a big one happening in North San Jose off of Montague Expressway and Sealy. So on the surface, when you read into the article, it sounds awesome. They're going to add 1,472 homes, right? Hey, that's
Enticing.
that's great.
Yeah.
But then if you look at the details, out of the 1,472, 1,170 of those are going to be apartments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Asterisk.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Which again, yeah, we need affordable rentals, but ultimately home ownership is the goal for most individuals in our marketplace. And so out of the 1,400, only 332 are going to be actual, and they're only
Fee
townhomes.
simple.
They're townhomes, single family homes.
Right.
And so, even with all of the requirements around building new housing in all of our cities in our county, remember, it doesn't have to be homes for sale. It can be apartments, affordable rentals. And so ultimately, I don't see anything outside of a natural disaster, terrorist attack, or a crash in the stock market that's going to slow down our housing anytime soon.
Well, I mean, we talked about this before. The big challenge I see, I know when you look at the whole state of California, the affordable housing and how they've pushed their SB 9 and these other things that have allowed SB 330 for builders to go in and make these large developments happen. It is a need. I get that, but there's certain areas that I think it's going to be a negative impact. When you look, for instance, listen, California is a big state, so I understand when you're making a big statewide statement with it. It's like, hey, I mean, we've got room to build in different areas. I mean, there's only 10% of California is populated. Only 10% of the state is populated, and you know that when you start taking Highway 5 between here and LA and stuff. Yeah. But you look at a town like Los Gatos. We know how congested this town gets in the summertime. And there, all these projects we've talked about, well, now these projects are actually going. I mean, there's two of them right now that are right by downtown, within a block of downtown. And there's going to be like 1,000 property, and these are all fee simple, high density type condos and stuff. But you put that much more traffic on these roads where, yes, you're giving affordable housing, but you're not putting the money into the infrastructure. And the fact is, there is no room to increase the infrastructure. You can remodel it and rebuild it.
Highway 17 on the weekends, Los Gatos Summit.
No, I mean,
it took you an hour and a half to go, 2.5 miles?
Pretty much. And then over the weekend, I mean, it's, anytime there's water on that road, I mean, there were 6 accidents every day. I mean, so
it's rough.
Yeah, I mean, again, I appreciate the whole push for affordable housing. It's the right for every American and individual to be able to have a roof over their head. I really do appreciate that, but I think there has to be a little bit more thought and
and infrastructure.
How we're doing it. Yeah.
That reminds me, in India, because there's all these towers building everywhere, like cities are very congested, like population's so high out there, right? So I remember I was going 2 miles and it took me 45 minutes to get from point A to point B.
You could have walked in 30
minutes. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's great. And a lot of what you hear in the news right now too is like, there's tech layoffs and things like that, or the big TikTok ban, that was coming. And what's really interesting though is that if you look what the company does in terms of growth, you can kind of see what's going to go, happen long term. Just a month or so ago, TikTok signed a lease in San Jose for 357,000 square feet, right? So, and that's in the midst of the ban. So that tells you they're not too worried about, growth. And then NVIDIA did a lease. Well, they just signed one last month for 110,000 square feet. Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to have, you hear about Google laying off and some minimal stuff, but it percentage-wise is small compared to the overall strength of the tech industry.
I think what everybody has to realize in our area, don't be chicken little when you hear these headlines to come out and everything, because it is long term here, and it's just white noise. I think you said that before. It's just noise.
Just noise.
I mean, I think right now there's so much hype going on. Everybody wants to jump up with so much drama and emotions and anxiety in our world right now. Just breathe. Calm down.
Yeah.
And the sky's not falling.
It's not. And even if we had a significant market correction, say 10%. So what? So a $2.2 million home's going to be $2 million. And guess what? As soon as they drop 10%, all the buyers are going to swarm in.
And guess what? That person paid $500,000 for that house 10 years ago, 15 years ago, right?
Exactly. The one sector that's still getting hammered, though, is commercial real estate, like buildings. And so, perfect example, there is a commercial building downtown Oakland, 1440 Broadway.
Yeah.
2018, it was purchased for $45 million.
Yep.
It just sold last month for $5.5 million.
A lot of that going around.
Now, there's only one person here at this table that can afford to purchase a $5.5 million.
He's got all those Indian.
Check out the watch, everyone. Check out the watch.
But I mean, imagine the upside in that. 6 years ago, it was valued at $45 million.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously, there's potential and opportunity to pick it up for $5 million. Imagine what it's going to be worth in 5, 7, 10 years.
The thing to keep in mind, though, is when you're looking at those big buildings, they sound great. I had a client call me on a building in Illinois that he saw, and it was like this huge 250,000 square foot historical building downtown, vacant. $650,000 you can buy it for 650 grand. But okay, the thing's been vacant for 15 years. You know how much money you're going to put in? That thing will be a bottomless pit, right? So I mean, even those, I mean, the problem is you better have the bank to hold on to it, the ability to land bank that thing for a while and to put into it. But you're right. I mean, the amount of equity that's been lost on those buildings, you go to San Francisco, Oakland, all those areas.
And then the trickle-down effect of that is the loss of property tax revenue.
Right.
Oakland was collecting,
100%.
1.25% of $45 million. Now they're going to get 1.25% of $5.5 million, right? And so that's why we're starting to see like Santa Clara County, is having some troubles with their budget, and and office space or office buildings are a big part of that.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think that's still a good opportunity to get?
I was just going to say, I think it's a great opportunity.
If I had $5.5 million, right on Broadway, downtown Oakland, I mean,
10 cents on the dollar.
Pretty much.
And I mean, if you bought it for $45 million, it can't be completely in shambles, right? There can't be a ton of deferred maintenance. They paid $45 million for the single building,
and the person probably got a non-recourse loan.
Yeah.
So they basically just gave it back to the bank, and the bank took the bank, and then the taxpayers wind up taking the loss on it, depending on what happens to that bank.
Yeah. I mean, there's tons of defaults like that going on right now throughout our valley.
Do you think these owners of these buildings are just selling it to another entity to like pay lower property taxes?
I believe in most of these situations, it's a bank that's selling them, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
The person's walked away. They defaulted on the loan. Bank takes it back, writes off the loss, and then they just sell it on the market.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
But it's an interesting time.
Without a doubt.
Crazy.
Do we have stats? Where are we at with Mark?
There's no houses for sale, dude. That's why there's 55
Wait, there's
offers.
400 homes on the market in Santa Clara County, right? Let's do it.
Okay, Santa Clara County, so single family 718.
718 on the market.
Is that coming soon too, though?
That's coming soon as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got to back off about 150 or so from
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, which is an increase then, because last time I checked, last week, it was like only 400.
Yeah, so we're probably up to about 550.
Yeah, okay, so we got an increase on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So coming soon as well, condos 350, and then townhouses 170.
Yeah. And they're
So
still selling.
what do you got? 1,200 total there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that includes the coming soons too.
Yeah, yes.
And they are still selling. We still only have about 3 to 4 months. I'm sorry, 3 to 4 weeks worth of inventory.
Yeah, I was gonna say a month,
Yeah,
right?
It's that time of the year where comps go out of the window, and it's just people's desire is what dictates market value.
Yeah, it's desire or tired, right? How many times do we have buyers that say, you know what, I don't care what I have to pay. I'm tired of looking.
Well,
I'm tired of getting beat.
Yep.
And if I overpay by 100,000, who cares?
And the season for hot activity is just really starting right now.
It's
I
just-
mean, we're in February.
I know.
That February 1 through the end of May, it's going to be on fire again.
It is, and that's a great transition for the last topic that I had today. Speaking of February, Super Bowl.
That's coming up.
So, Super Bowl predictions. Do the Chiefs three-peat?
Oh God.
Of course.
Well,
They have to.
Of course.
I'm rooting for that. Like I want to see that.
As a Dallas Cowboy fan, I hate Philly, so I actually hope
choice.
I actually hope both teams lose, but
possible?
but I think Chiefs are going to win.
Hey, that's a great question. Can they tie?
No.
NFL allows ties now.
Not in the Super Bowl, buddy.
I'm so behind. I saw a kick return the other day.
It was the most ridiculous thing I've
I'm
ever
like,
seen.
what happened?
Right? Why are they just standing there?
What are they doing?
Yeah. My prediction: Kansas City wins, and then Travis Kelce proposes to Taylor Swift on the field afterwards.
But that's why everyone's
Cut that
tuning
one.
in, right?
That's
Third time's the charm.
Chop that one.
So
down.
are there any
And then
other
he retires.
Are there any other NFL teams that are three-peats?
No, this will be the
No, this will be the first one.
This will be history.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, if anybody can do it, Mahomes can do it,
He's
right?
a goat. He's a total goat.
He is.
I still will be betting on Eagles, though.
Well, yeah,
Go for it.
because they're a 1.5 underdog, I think, going into it. So
Didn't Tom Brady do it?
he never three-peated.
Never
He
three-peated.
did back-to-back.
Back-to-back.
Never
Oh.
three-peated.
7 total.
Yeah.
But never three-peat.
Never.
Yeah.
And Mahomes is young. He's 29, 28.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
A lot of career left.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was telling you. I want to see him win it for the third time and then just carry on. See how long he.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go, but
Exactly.
God bless.
No, I never want to see the Chiefs win again. Come on.
Yeah, I think enough of that.
And next year, Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah, we'll see about that. All right, so we have our movie night coming up.
Yep.
Right?
Movie
Hopefully
night.
this will be out there
We
by
got
that
Captain
time.
America.
Yep.
Something. Winters. Not
Winter,
winter.
no,
Solstice.
it's not winter.
Where's Ben when you need him?
I know.
Anyway,
Whatever.
But this is important. So next Thursday, the 13th,
Correct.
we have movie night. We sold it out like in a day.
yeah.
So before I walked in here, I asked our marketing director, to see if we could get a second movie theater. Ooh. So,
Okay.
because we've all gotten calls, and I know some of the agents on our team didn't even get to send the email out.
That's right.
Aaron, Jason, G.
I sent it out.
Oh, okay.
I'm contributing.
All right. Yeah. So half the team didn't even get a chance to send the email out before we sold out. So we're working on that. So any of our clients or referral partners that see this and want to get in to see the newest Captain America movie before everybody else, we're going to world premiere it on the 13th. And, and if you're cheap, you could just tell your partner that it's Valentine's Day gift.
Oh, there you go. Great idea.
There you go,
Great
right?
idea.
There you go. All right. Well, I think that's it, guys.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
All right, guys.
Great work.
All right.
Take care.